sir.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Is the PPT is visible clearly?
Yes, sir. Now, yes, sir.
Is there? The PPT is there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Right. So let's start with the program. Now, good morning again to all of you. Right. So I will start the third class of this, the second class of this. So this is about third class. The last class we have discussed about the generative type cap system. So basically, so in case of generative cap system, what we understood is we are not going to use the any existing plan. Rather than we are going to use the inputs from the human resources, and then we are going to plan. So accordingly, so we will be planning something like this. So first we are going to describe the description of the part, and then technical and logical decisions, which we are going to call it as knowledge base. We are going to store this knowledge base. Okay, that is nothing but the process planners. Okay, the successful process planners, how they have took the decision based on what how they have took the decision that is present in this technical and logical decision. Then by understanding the capabilities of machine tools available, we are going to make the decision and we'll write the process plan. That's about the generative type. So then after that, we understood about the benefits of the computer-aided process planning. And then we went to the concept of PPC, what is production planning activity, and what are the production control activities. Okay. So after understanding the production planning and production control activities, now I think we just started with what was called as the material requirement plan. Now today we'll start with the material requirement planning. So basically, in case of the material requirement planning, so MRP is what? Basically, MRP is nothing but is a computational technique that converts the master production schedule into a detailed schedule for the raw material. Okay. Now, in case of your the master production schedule, MPS means that MPS is going to say how many products has to be produced. Now you need to divide that MPS into the smaller entities. Okay, MPS only says about the final product, how many final products. Now it is the duty of the material requirement planner to understand how many raw material, what type of raw materials are required in order to produce those many number of the products. Therefore, the MRP is going to say about the detailed schedule of the quantities the raw material is required. Okay, right. And also it also understands how many raw materials are required is one side, and also the next question is when exactly each item has to be ordered. That is very important. Okay, when the raw material has to be ordered, how many raw materials has to be ordered, and how are you going to procure those is going to be the duty of the MRP. Then MRP is a method of inventory control. Okay, basically it is mainly used in order to have a control on the inventory. It always makes sure that there is not going to be a zero inventory, and at the same time there is a very higher inventory. Both are going to be a problem. Okay, zero inventory means there is no guarantee. Okay, if the material is, if it is not going to available at the right time, then the machines are not going to be working. If it is going to be very higher inventory, then unnecessarily you are spending more on the stock. Therefore, so it should make sure that there should not be a zero inventory and a very higher inventory. But remember, MRP is a tool which is mainly used for minimizing the unnecessary inventory investment. Okay, that is very important. Okay, it reduces the amount of inventory which is present. Okay, right. Then next is going to be the fundamental concept of MRP. Now, all these things might be asked for some 5 to 6 marks. Okay, in the examination. Okay, they may ask directly the MRP, or the subsections under MRP might also be asked. Okay, right. So fundamental concepts of MRP. Okay, now MRP is based on the following concepts. Okay, so I think I am clear with the audio, right? The PPT is visible through, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. Right. So MRP is based on the following concept. Basically, now we have the first one called as the independent demand versus dependent demand, then lead times, then commonly used items. Okay. Now, in order to plan for MRP, so you need to understand these three fundamental concepts. Okay. Now, one by one, we'll try to understand. Okay. So, what is independent demand and dependent demand means? Okay. Now, independent demand means that simple. the demand for a product is not directly related to the demand for other items. Okay, so demand for one product is independent of the demand for the other product. Okay, that means the demand for one final product is completely independent from the demand for other final product. Okay, or the spare parts. Okay, the demand for spare parts is going to be independent of the demand for that particular component, major component. Okay, right. That is case of an independent demand. Okay. Now, but in case of dependent demand, that the demand for the item is related directly to the demand for some other product. Okay, understand carefully. The demand for the item is related directly to the demand for some other product. Okay. Now, if you assume if you are manufacturing an automobile, okay, if you are manufacturing an automobile, the demand for the subcomponents of the automobile are all comes under the dependent demand. Okay, that means in automobile we have many subparts are going to be there, right from the chassis assembly to the tires to the piston to the gears to the different movement mechanisms, okay, or the steering mechanism, okay, or the brake mechanism, all that the component, the demand for the brake mechanism, okay, the brake is going to be dependent upon the clutch manufacturer. Okay, clutch manufacturing industry is dependent upon the brake manufacturing industry. Brake manufacturing industry dependent upon the tire manufacturing industry. Tire manufacturing industry depending upon the some other required component of the automobile. That is nothing but a dependent demand. Okay, now in this case of a dependent demand, there exists the dependency of the component with the other required products which goes into the particular assembly. That means all the assemblies, sub-assembly, the demand for the sub-assemblies are the example for this dependent demand. Okay, right. Then the third one is the second one is called as the lead time. Okay, very important is this lead time. Okay, now what do you mean by lead time? Lead time is the time required to complete the job from start to finish. Okay, so lead time is from the time taken from start to finish. Now, what start to what finish, we'll try to understand. Okay, right. Now, two types of lead times are going to be there. One is ordering lead time and manufacturing lead time. Okay, so ordering lead time and manufacturing lead time. Okay, so ordering lead time is something with reference to the raw material that you are going to get. Okay, understand. In ordering lead time is the time required from the initiation of the purchase to the receipt of the item. That means now today you have decided that I am going to buy, okay, I am going to buy raw material for the production of the piston ring. Okay, now today you are going to give the order. Okay, today you are going to give the order for the supply. Now from this date of ordering issue, that is the purchase order you are going to issue today, and till the time that you are going to receive the actual product into your shop floor, that time is called as the ordering lead time. Okay, so ordering lead time is the time for this time required for the supply of the component from the vendor. Therefore, now whenever you are going to order for the raw material, you should make sure that what is the ordering lead time of your vendor. Okay, now depending upon how that company has been placed, depending upon what is the capability of that particular company, this ordering lead time is going to be vary. Okay, remember, if the ordering lead time itself is going to be larger, which is lesser than the delivery time, then it is useless for us to order the raw material from that particular vendor, because you have only 1 month time for the supply of the product, not for the raw material. Supply of the product itself is 1 month. But the raw material supplier, if he is going to take some 20 or 25 days to supply the raw material, then there is no point in giving the order to that fellow. Therefore, now you need to observe your the time required for you to produce and give it to the customer, and also what is the ordering lead time. Therefore, understand, ordering lead time is the time taken by the vendor to supply the raw material to the factory. Okay, that is with respect to the raw material side. Then the other one is called as the manufacturing lead time. Okay, that is the one which is already known to you. Okay, that is called as so what we generally call it as the MLT. Okay, so that is manufacturing lead time. Okay, basically manufacturing lead time is the total time required to complete the job considering operation time, non-operation time, and setup time. Okay, so you know that MLT constitute of the working time, non-working time, and the time required for you to adjust the machine. So these two are very, very important. Okay, so based upon these two, you are going to plan your the raw material and the time required for you to supply the final product. Okay, right. Last one is commonly used items. Okay, so very, very important. Okay, what I mean by commonly used items is nothing but, okay, now assume that you are going to order for a raw material. Okay, whenever you are going to order for the raw material, okay, there are certain components which are going to be there, which is going to be used on many products. Okay, let us take an example of a washer or a nut or a bolt or a key. Okay, right. Now these products, okay, so it might be a nut, might be a bolt, might be a key, okay, might be the washer. These are all the subcomponents which are going to be used on more than one product. Okay, so now what are you going to do is, now as it is the case, as these type of products are going to be present, what will you do is you will collect these common used item. Okay, so you collect these common used item from the various products. Okay, now let's assume for product A there are 10 items are going to be required. Okay, so product B also require those 10 items. For product C also require those 10 items. Therefore, rather than asking, okay, the vendor to supply 10 items separately, okay, rather than asking the vendor to supply 10 items separately, if you ask in bulk, if you ask in 30, I'm just using the words 30, okay, let's say 10 ton separately. Okay, so now definitely is the economics is going to be different. Okay, if you order at individual case, if you are going to purchase at bulk, if you are going to purchase all 30 ton at one instance, okay, because all the three products require the same thing, then you will be having economics is going to be worked out. Okay, economics is going to be worked out. Therefore, whenever you are going to order the raw material, first observe, is there any commonly used items are going to be there. Therefore, if any commonly used items are going to be there, collect the information about all those commonly used items and order them at once. Okay, order them at once. Okay, so that is very, very important. Okay, if you order them once, the economics is going to be worked out. Okay, so these are the three different the fundamental concepts of MRP, which is the dependent demand and independent demand, then the ordering time, okay, that is nothing but ordering time, and also manufacturing lead time, then the commonly used items. Okay, right. Then next is this block diagram is very important, so please make a note somewhere that you'll understand inputs to MRP system. It's an important one. Okay, inputs to MRP system, or you can also call this as structure of MRP system. Okay, now for the MRP to function, in an effective manner, the MRP processor will get the information from the following three items. Okay, so the major inputs to make the MRP to work successfully or efficiently are: number one is called as master production schedule file, number two is bill of material file, number three is inventory record file. Okay, so what are all these? Before that, we'll try to understand this block diagram. Okay, right. Now just observe. Right. Can you able to see this pointer that I am showing it around the MRP processor? Is this pointer visible to you at MRP processor?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Yeah?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm just shown to MRP processor. Is it visible now? This mouse movement?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Now, first, what you need to observe is this one. Okay. So this MRP processor is the one which is very important. Okay. MRP processor is at the central level. Okay. So this is the one which processes your raw material. Now, for this MRP processor, the inputs are going to be from three parts. Okay. For the MRP processor, the inputs to this MRP is going to be from, by number one is master production schedule. The inputs are going to be from master production schedule. Then second one is going to be from bill of material. Third one is going to be from inventory record file. Okay, just observe this MRP processor. the inputs to this MRP processor is given by master production schedule, then given by bill of material file, then given by inventory record file. Okay, right. Now these things, okay, these are the inputs to the individual things. Okay, don't worry about this first now. Okay, so first you understand the MPS, BOM, and inventory record file are the three inputs to your MRP processor. So therefore, MRP takes the input from these three and process the MRP, and it produces or it gives away some output reports. So now we'll understand one by one what is this MPS deals with, what is this bill of material, and what is this inventory record file. Okay, right. Now if you just understand one by one, the first input to your the MRP processor was the master production schedule. The first input was the master production schedule, which is called as MPS. What is MPS is basically, MPS is listing of, okay, it just gives you the list of what end products are to be produced. Okay, it gives the list of what end products are to be produced. That means list of end products means I am producing the piston. Okay, it is the first one, listing of what end product. End product is piston. Then next is how many of each product to be produced. How many pistons you are going to produce? I am going to produce 1000 piston in a day. Okay, right. Then third one, when they are to be delivered. Okay, what is the delivery date of those pistons that you are going to manufacture? That means, okay, so what products, how many products, when the delivery is going to be. So these three are given by the master production schedule. Okay, right. Now remember, based on the inputs given by master production schedule, then you plan for procuring the raw material. When you are going to procure the raw material, first and the foremost thing it should be known to you is what type of product that you are producing. Are you producing a steel type of product, or are you producing something which is going to be fragile product? Are you producing sheet metal product, something like that? So what type? After knowing what type of product, then you should know how many of each products you need to produce, so that for each of the product you need to calculate the raw material. Okay, for the purpose of calculating the raw material, you should know how many of each product. Then after knowing the raw material, then very important thing, when they have to be delivered. Okay, if the delivery date is only 2 days, if the delivery date that you have promised is day after tomorrow, that is on Sunday I want to deliver the product. Okay, if the delivery date is promised is Sunday, then you need to plan in such a way that you want to get the raw material immediately and then process that raw material and produce, so that you can able to give the delivery to the customer day after tomorrow. Okay, so therefore you need to think about what should be the ordering time. Okay, what should be the ordering time. Therefore all the decisions that the MRP is going to take is based on this. Okay, therefore when the whole of your MRP decision is based on master production schedule, the MPS should be based on accurate estimation of demand. Okay, it should be based on accurate estimation of demand and a realistic assessment of its production capacity. Okay, very, very important. Okay, MPS should not say, very important, MPS should not say some inaccurate estimation. Okay, now assuming that so day after tomorrow there is a requirement of 10,000 parts. Okay, so if I'm going to produce 10,000 parts, if there is going to be a demand, it's fine. Okay, whatever I have produced will be purchased. If just simply assuming that I may get the demand, if you are going to produce unnecessarily, you are wrongly estimated the demand. And also it should be a realistic assessment of its production capacity. Okay, this is very, very, very important. Please understand the value of MSP, that means how many products to be produced. It should be a realistic assessment of its production capacity. Remember, you should know at this stage what is the production capacity. Okay, production capacity is nothing but it is the maximum output that a company can able to produce under a particular period of time. Okay, now my company capacity to produce some product is only 1000 per day. Okay, whatever you are going to do, however efficient that you are going to do, you can able to produce only 1000 product in a day. But when the master production scheduler, if he is going to say how many of each product to be produced, if he simply say 1,300 products can be produced per day, so what is going to happen? He is studying 1,300, but my final capacity means the maximum capacity itself is 1,000. Okay, then what has happened? This fellow is a he don't have any common sense, because you don't have any idea about the production capacity of his own firm. Okay, therefore, so he is a very bad master production scheduler. Therefore, so this should be very, very important. Okay, now next question is, on what basis this value is going to be arrived? Okay, now if I am going to say how many products to be produced, okay, the question is, will I am going to simply say some number? Is the question. Okay, I want you, no problem, you go and produce some 2,000 products. Is it the way that I am going to give my master production schedule? Definitely no. There is no scope for just a guess. There is no scope for a guess here. Okay, so some concept should have been gone through, some thought should have been gone through in order to determine the product demand. Okay, and therefore the product demand that makes up the master schedule, okay, the product demand that makes up the product schedule can be categorized into guaranteed customer order, okay, sales forecast, spare parts requirements. Now if you observe, just observe, so these three are what? These three are the inputs to your master production schedule. Okay, what is the first input? Customer order. Okay, that means already you might have got some known customer orders. That means, let's say for a Amaze the car. Okay, for the Amaze car, as of now, if I am going to collect the order from all the dealers, I will know. Okay, some might have already given the prior order to me. Okay, that means some request has been made. Okay, so that is nothing but your customer order. Okay, so this customer order more or less is going to be a permanent. Okay, so I only went, okay, as a customer, I only went to the dealer and I am asking, I am booking. Okay, pre-booking. This we call it as pre-booking. Okay, so I am pre-booking for the product. Okay, so all that I am going to collect from all the dealers, and I will know there is going to be a pre-booking for this particular vehicle of so many numbers. Okay, in then some period of time. So that is known to me, customer order. Okay. Now the question is, everybody will not going to go on pre-book. Okay, there are every possibility that I may go randomly and I may go on purchase. Okay, right. So what is that is called as sales forecast. Okay, so sales forecast. Okay, I am going to forecast. Okay, so probably this is a chance that this many people might come to purchase. Okay, this all depends upon the many issues. Okay, remember, okay, sales forecast depends upon many issues. It depends upon what is the economic status. It depends upon what is the capability of that particular product. Okay, how it is present in the market nowadays. Okay, is it giving a good feedback by the customer? I will not go simply and go that particular product. Okay, I will take the feedback from the one who is using that. Okay, if somebody is going to say it is not so good, then what is going to happen? I will never going to go there. Okay, so all that is going to be important. Okay, that you need to forecast. Okay, forecast is something but prediction. Okay, so you are going to predict. Okay, that means in the last month, so many people have approached. In the previous month, so many people have approached. Okay, assuming that in the last 3 months, some 100 members, 120 members have approached the dealer. I am only forecasting that maybe in the next month, 140 members may come for the request. Okay, that is called as your sales forecast. Okay, so this is customer orders is already been placed. This is the fixed order already been placed by the customer. So this one is a hope. Okay, sales forecast is a hope. Is a hope that this many customers may come for the purchase. Then next is the spare parts requirement. Okay, spare parts requirement is nothing but what? Now, because there is no guarantee when it is during the process, there might be a possibility of some damage to the work part. So some spare parts are going to be required. Okay, so the number from spare parts requirement is generally less. Okay, if your product is very good, if it is maintenance free or if it is less maintenance, the spare parts requirement is going to be lesser. Customer order is going to be permanent, and sale forecast is going to be very, very important. Okay, now based on these three parameters, I am going to decide how many products has to be produced. Okay, therefore, the master production schedule, okay, is going to be dependent upon these three parameters. Okay, that's about the MPS. Now, next one is, second one is what is called as the BOM file. Okay, so BOM is the thing but bill of material, okay, which is already been known to you. Okay, now what is bill of material? So bill of material file is used to compute what items and how many of each are used to make up a specified final product. That means the BOM is going to gives you the list of individual components. Okay, it gives you the list of individual components required to make up a specified final product. Okay, so final product is going to be one. Okay, in order to get that final product, remember that final product will not be available as it is. Okay, so you need to make up that final product through the production of some different subcomponents. Okay, the list of all those is going to be what is called as the bill of materials. Okay, now bill of material file is used to compute the raw material and component requirement for end product listed in the master schedule. Okay, now the product what I have listed in the master schedule is the piston. Okay, the engine piston is what I have listed. So in order to produce that engine piston, okay, so how many subparts are going to be required? That is called that structure is called as your bill of material file structure. Okay, right. Now it says it provides information on the product structure by listing the component parts and subassemblies that make up each product. Okay, now if you observe carefully, now this is what is that I am talking about. Okay, now bill of material structure for a single product. Okay, now just observe the product what I am producing is just a very simplest, the structure. Okay, so generally getting this type is very rare. Okay, so means I am producing product called as 1. Okay, so the product that I want to produce is P1. So I want to produce 100 P1 products. Okay, I want to produce 100 P1 product. In order to produce 1P, I require two different subassemblies. Okay, I require S1 subassembly and I require S2 subassemblies. Now please understand, very important, there is something present in the parenthesis. That means 4 units of S1 and 3 units of S2 is required to produce 1 unit of P1. Okay, very important. Okay, now S1 and S2, okay, S1 and S2 are the subassemblies to make up this particular product. Okay, right. Now this is called a level 0 product. This is level 1 product. Okay, so this is called as parent product. These are the sub components. Okay, now again, I don't know, is it S1 is going to be a single product? Definitely S1 is not a single product. Again, in order to produce this subassembly, I require some different components are going to be there. Now in order to produce one S1, please observe, in order to produce one component of S1, okay, right, I require 3 different components. Okay, so S1 subassembly requires 1 component of C1, 4 components of C2, 4 components of C3. Okay, hope you are understanding. That means what this shows you is the number of subcomponents which are required in order to produce the main components. Then again, so this component C1 require so many raw material. This requires so many raw material. This requires so many raw material. Now, what you are going to work out? You are going to work out at this last stage. Okay, you are going to work out how many raw materials are going to be required. Okay, for each of the component. Then you obtain this component. So you make the combination of 1, 4, and 4. Then you will get 1 S1. Okay, so 4 of this S1 will make up a part of this P. Okay, so this is what is called as the bill of material for a single product. Okay, right. Now, if you observe structure of an assembled product, in the form of a pyramid can be structure of an assembled product in the form of a pyramid can be depicted as shown in the figure. So it can be seen from the figure that the product P1 is the parent of, okay, P1 is the parent of subassemblies S1 and S2. Okay, P1 is the parent of subassemblies S1 and S2. Okay, then if you go one step below, S1 is going to become the parent of C1, C2, C3. Okay, S2 is going to become the parent of C4, C5, and C6. Okay, like that, it just go further. The hierarchy of parentship is going to come from the top to down. Okay. Now, if you observe any bill of material file, you will understand what are all the various components required in order to produce the main component. Okay. Now, next thing is very important, called as inventory record file. Okay. Now, in case of inventory record file, basically, so inventory record file is referred to as the item master file. Okay, it is referred to as item master file. All the data related to the inventory, okay, are recorded in the inventory record file. So this is very important. Okay, so inventory record file is after that you start producing the after you start procuring the component. Okay, related to the stock, any information. Any information related to the stock is going to be present in this inventory record file. Now, what are all the various segment of this inventory record file is one by one. First one is item master data segment. Okay, so it says about item master data segment. It provides the items identification. That means the part number and the other data about the parts such as order quality and lead time. That means this one, the first one consists of about the information about the part number, and for that particular part number, how many product that you have ordered and what is the time taken to receive that particular product. Okay, so that is present in item master data segment. Okay, so if I see the item master data segment, I will be knowing how many parts that you are procuring, and for each of the part, what is the lead time and what is the amount. Okay, amount of quantity that will be known. Then second one is inventory status segment. Okay, inventory status segment, it means this gives a time phased record of inventory status. That means, yes, you have procured the raw material. Okay, then once you have procured the raw material, you will start to use the raw material day by day. Okay, time by time. Okay, as and when you start using the raw material, the consumption of the raw material is going to occur. Then who has to take care? Okay, who has to take care how the consumption is occurring, or at this point of time, what is the quantity which is left out? Okay, so that is going to be given by what is called as the inventory status segment. Okay, inventory status segment. Okay, inventory status segment gives a time phased record of inventory status. Then last one is subsidiary data segment. It provides an additional data such as the purchase order, the scrap, etc. That means now during the production, if it is going to be any loss of the raw material is going to occur, all the data is present in the subsidiary data segment. Okay, right. So please remember, so these are the three different inputs. Okay, so now observe the three different inputs are going to be, first one is master production schedule, which says about how many products has to be produced and when you are going to produce. Now, the data for this, the value of this master production schedule can be arrived by knowing the fixed customer order or the forecast, sales forecast, and the requirement of spare parts. Then next is the bill of material. So bill of material is nothing but the engineering changes of the product. It means the bill of material says about what are all the sub-components required to produce the main component. Okay, it understands the structure of the product. Then next one is called inventory record file. Okay, so this inventory record file will gives you the inventory transaction of the component. Now the MRP processor will use all these inputs to carry out the activity. Okay, now after understanding the inputs to MRP, next thing is how the MRP is going to work. Okay, so very, very important. Okay, now the how the MRP is going to work. Now, for the MRP to work, it should observe the data present from the input file. Okay, now just now we have discussed what are the input files which are present in the MRP. Just now we have discussed what are all the input files present for the MRP. That means the MRP processor operates on the data contained in MPS, BOM file, and inventory record file. Okay, as I said, please observe these words: MRP processor, MPS, BOM, and inventory record. Okay, now just observe here. Right now, MRP processor will act on the inputs given by MPS, the bill of material file, and inventory record file. Okay. Now, what inputs that they have given to you is important. Okay, what MPS provides you? MPS provides a period by period list of final products required. Okay, MPS is going to give you period by period list of final product. BOM defines what materials and components needed for each product. Okay, right. The inventory record file contains information on the current and future inventory status of each component. Okay. Now you know how many products to produce. For each of the products, what materials are required is known to you under BOM. Then inventory will say about what is the current status of the raw material in the factory. Therefore, using these three inputs, the MRP processor computes the number of each component and raw material required for the given final product. Okay, how the MRP is going to work? Basically, the MRP is going to work by considering the three different inputs and it calculates. Okay, MRP is a computational technique. Remember, the definition of MRP only we have said that MRP is a computational technique. What computation it is going to do? It calculates the requirement of the raw material by considering all these inputs. It calculates the raw material input and accordingly it makes the order. Okay, so that is very, very important. That's about the working of MRP. Okay, now after understanding the working of MRP, then next thing is called as the MRP output reports. Okay, right. Now if you observe, okay, right, what is the result of MRP processor? Result of MRP processor is nothing but the working of MRP processor. MRP processor, after getting all the information, it produces some output reports. Okay, it produces some output, some reports it is going to produce. Okay, that is what we are discussing now. Okay, so what is called as MRP output reports. Okay, what are the MRP output reports? The first and the foremost thing, the MRP is for what? MRP is for placing the order, okay, onto the vendor for the supply of raw material. The main objective of MRP is to place the order for raw material. So that is the first and the foremost one. That is planned order releases. Okay, so planned order releases is purchase order. Okay, purchase order for what? Purchase order to buy the raw material. Okay, to buy the raw material and parts. Okay, the raw material required, okay, is going to be procured, which is called as purchase order. Then there is something called work order. Work order is to make part or products. Okay, please understand the difference between purchase order and work order. Purchase order is you are going to procure the raw material required to produce the component. Okay, please understand, the purchase order is the initial raw material required to produce the component. Work order is nothing but what? You directly order for the product itself. Okay, that is nothing but we are going to give subcontracting. Okay, the Maruti is going to give a subcontracting for Rane Madras to do certain things. Okay, the Maruti is going to give subcontract for the Brakes India Limited Chennai in order to give you the brakes. Okay, that means that's also what? That is also the order only, but it is purchase order of the raw material. But this is purchase order. This is the work order. Okay, wherein you are going to make the parts and products directly. Okay. Only in your work area, you are going to do what is called the assembly. Okay, right. Then next thing is, first you are given the either the purchase order you are given, or you have issued the purchase order, or you have issued the work orders. Okay, right. Next thing, the second report probably is going to be report of the planned order releases in future period. It means once you releases, it's a continuous process. Okay, today you are going to release, tomorrow you need to release, day after tomorrow you need to release, all that. Okay, so all that subsequent future releases are going to be called as the report of planned order releases. Okay, then next thing is rescheduling notices. Okay, so what you might also be interested is rescheduling notices. What is rescheduling notices? Assume that you are given the purchase order. Okay, you are given the purchase order for the supply of some item. The time that you are given is 1 week. Okay, the time that you are given is 1 week. Now suddenly there was some requirement. Suddenly there is a surge in the market. Suddenly there is a demand for the market, wherein you wanted more amount of material. Okay, so when in that moment, what are you going to do? You already placed the purchase order. Okay, in effect of that continuation of that purchase order, you will issue one more thing called as a rescheduling notices. Okay, you give the reschedule notices to the vendor saying that you please supply the material in advance. Okay, that is one time. There might be other way also, the negative thing also. So suddenly there is a requirement, suddenly there is a drop in the requirement. Then what you do is, there is no point for you to procure in early and store it at your location. Then again you may give a rescheduling notice stating that I don't want at very faster, so you can please reschedule. Okay, you can please reschedule rather than giving me next week. You please try to give me another 15 days later. Okay, so these are all the adjustments. Okay, these are all the adjustments required depending upon the environment outside. Okay, so that is rescheduling notices. Then next one is cancellation notices. Okay, so this is very important, which is going to happen every time. Okay, now what's going to happen is, some vendors, okay, they may not going to supply the material on time. Okay, so they are not going to follow the norms of the parent organization. Okay, so let us say, take an example of a Toyota. The Toyota is having a very stringent norms. Okay, the suppliers found it very difficult. The suppliers are going to found very difficult in order to supply to a vendors like Toyota or vendors like the Hyundai or vendors like Maruti, because they squeeze the vendor in such a way that that there is no possibility for them, okay, to do mistake. Okay, so if there is any mistake happens, remember, if there any mistake happens, then the whole of the order might be closed. So in that situation, I will issue a cancellation notice. Okay, I will issue a cancellation notice to the supplier saying that you have violated so many things, so by which I am going to cancel your order. Okay, so that is called as a cancellation notices. Okay, right. And in a intermittently you are going to also look at inventory status report. That is, inventory status reports is nothing but at a particular instant of time, what is the stock. Okay, that is report of the stock. Okay, so today the report of stock is so many tons. Okay, so like that every time you are going to check. Okay, then next is performance reports. Okay, performance reports is how these are going on, how the purchase order, whatever the purchase order you have issued, whatever the work orders have you issued, you just check whether they are all intact. Okay, this means that you have given a purchase order for 1 week time. Okay, are you going to get, have you got it by 1 week only? If you are not got it by 1 week, okay, what was the delay? Okay, what is the reason? All that is going to be present in the performance reports. Okay, then some exception reports are going to be there. Okay, now why the exception reports are going to come into picture? You do performance report. Okay, if everything is fine, if every customer, sorry, if every vendor has supplied the raw material at the right instant of time, the performance reports is going to be very good. Okay, but there may not be the case all the time. There might be some deviation. So whenever there is a deviation present, you prepare what is called the exception report. Okay, exception report generally says about the deviation from the planned supply. Okay, so 1 week you have stored, but you are supplied in after 10 days. Okay, so those things are going to be present in exception reports. Then inventory forecast. Okay, now this you are going to, depending upon the amount of material that you have ordered, you are going to forecast in another 3 months in my factory I will be having so much of inventory. Correct. So these are all the reports which are going to be present in what is called as your the MRP approved reports. This is the planned order releases are going to be there. Then the report of planned order release, rescheduling notices, cancellation notice, inventory status report, performance report, exception reports, and inventory forecast reports. Okay, right. Next thing is, we'll end up with what is called as the MRP benefits. Okay, what are the benefits of MRP? Okay, so very important is nothing but, one second. Yeah, right. So MRP benefits is nothing but, the very important thing is, for what for we are doing MRP is for the reduction in inventory. Okay, we should make sure very the requirement of MRP is for the purpose of reducing the inventory. Okay, so inventory has to be reduced. Okay, then quicker response to changes in demand. Okay, quicker response to changes in demand. Okay, that means what is that I have told. Okay, right. So now here rescheduling notices are there. Rescheduling notices are there. I told that rescheduling notices you are going to issue if there is going to be a demand. Okay, Now, if there is a demand, what you do is your MRP processor will quickly issue the rescheduling notices, so that there is an opportunity for you to grab to supply some more material. Then you try to grab that by giving the order to the raw material, so that you can achieve that. Okay. Then reduce the setup and changeover cost. Okay. Now, by properly maintaining, okay, the material requirement planning, the setup time is going to be reduced and changeover cost is going to be reduced, and better machine utilization is going to be there, and it helps in developing a better master scheduling process, and improved product quality is going to be there, and production scheduling is going to be better, and reduced production lead time. Okay, now these are all the points. Okay, maybe some the 4 marks. Okay, so these things might be asked. So these are all the benefits that we are going to expect from the material requirement planning. Okay, so this is about what is called as the MRP. So please understand. Okay, MRP. Okay, we have started with MRP. Okay, understood about the basics. Then fundamental concepts of MRP we have discussed. Then the inputs to MRP. This one is important. Master production schedule, bill of material, and inventory record. Okay. Then next is the thing, but what are called as the structure of MRP. Then MPS. Then bill of material. Okay. Then inventory record, and how the MRP is going to work, and MRP output reports, and MRP benefits. Okay. So this is about the concept of MRP. Okay. Now, after understanding about MRP, then we'll just go with the last one called as the capacity planning. Okay. Right. What is capacity planning? Is if you observe the capacity planning, now MPS has told about this is the number of product to be produced. Okay. Now you know that I need to produce some 1000 piston you need to produce. Okay. So MRP has took a decision to procure the raw material. Okay. So raw material has been procured by MRP. Now you have got the MRP with you. Now what will you do with that raw material? There should be somebody or there should be some machine required in order to process the raw material. Therefore, who is going to do that is called as a member called as a capacity planning. Okay. So capacity planning, okay, is the entity. So capacity planning is concerned with determining labor and equipment resources. Capacity planning is concerned with determining labor and equipment resources required to meet the current master schedule as well as long-term future production needs of the firm. Okay. It also serves to identify the limitations of the available production resources so that an unrealistic master schedule is not planned. Okay, basically, the capacity planning looks at basically to determine what is the labor requirement and what is the equipment requirement. Okay, right. Now there are certain things which are going to be there. I think I require some more time for me to explain clearly. So I think 11:45. Now all of you please type your USN number. All of you type your USN number in the chat box. Okay, right. So type your USN number in the chat box, and then accordingly we'll close it off. Okay, right. Now one more thing. Okay, before I'm going to end. Okay. Now today there is one important session. Okay, we have organized. Okay, so there is 3 o'clock. There is a session by Mr. Vivek. Okay, he is going to talk about the job opportunities in the CAE domain. Okay, so he is very good at CAE domain, and also he has worked many of our students. Okay, he has helped many of our students to get the jobs also, and under his firm only there are around 5 people are working. So he has accepted our invitation to come online to give the lecture to you. So please, all of you, please come online at 3 o'clock. Okay, I will post the link at around 2:45. So make sure you're going to be live at 2:50 or 2:55. Okay, without fail. Right? Okay. Right. Okay. Now, if everybody has typed your USN number, okay, I think we'll close the session today. So we'll rejoin on Monday. Okay, so tomorrow is Saturday. I don't have any class, so Monday we'll rejoin. Okay, right. Thank you very much for your class. Take care. Okay, if you have typed your USN number, okay, you can leave the meeting so that I will quit.